So the Banyamulenge are an ethnic group primarily living in the highlands of South Kivu province in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, as Chairperson Bain mentioned. So their presence in that region dates back several centuries, with their ancestors believed to have migrated from the Great Lakes region, particularly from what is now Rwanda and Burundi during the 16th and 17th century. During the colonial period under Belgian rule, the Banyamulenge were recognized as indigenous. I have to mention this because later on things have changed. However, the dynamics began to shift in the mid-20th century. They are normally the pastoral people who live in the South Kivu. They are a minority at high risk, especially in DRC, where politicians manipulate ethnic differences to gain power and maintain it. Since the arrival of the colonialists, who quickly realized there was morphological difference, different lifestyle, two different entities in the lifestyle and organization, the colonial hastened to divide them for better dominance and reign, playing on the difference which they introduced in schools. So the colonialists sown hatred in teaching, and the following generations have inherited division and blood vengeance. The ethnic division took dramatic twists, with the majority of ethnic groups denying the Banyamulenge the right to be part of indigenous people in the Great Lakes region, threatening them as foreigners who came from Ethiopia or Israel. Thus, the conflict would be cyclical with batches of death and refugees. So DRC therefore has endured political and social turmoil since gaining the independence from the Belgium in the 1960s. And history plays an important role in the present situation and helps and it helps to avoid a misdiagnosis of the DRC crisis. So during the post-colonial period, which is the part that I wanted to emphasize because it's where the whole problem got worsened, the country experienced a transition of power from colonial to Congolese authorities that had already inherited the division mentality. So right after the independence, there was a variation of the communist versus capitalist confrontation, which is known as the Mulele Rebellion. This led to a civil war, and subsequently, the Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, that I believe everyone knows here, he was killed, assassinated in the 1961. And at that time, the Katanga Secessionist War and Mulele Rebellion arose. The Katanga is a province in the DRC. So this is where the problems of Banyamulenge started. In 1964, over 1,000 Banyamulenge were systematically killed in different villages. I named them, but I'll save the trouble of pronouncing them because it's in our highland in South Kivu. In 1981, they passed a retroactive law denying the nationality of Banyamulenge. Then from there we became stateless. Even till today, we are called people with doubtful nationality. 1992 to 1996, a new legislation was passed to forcibly chase all Banyamulenge from the DRC. Such law to contest citizenship rights of the Banyamulenge people was implemented, leading to a crisis. I'm just highlighting the events. In 1997 to 2003, politics of ethnic identity involved over 6 African nations and more than a dozen rebel groups. 2016 until now, the ethnic hatred and ethno-nationalism became a dominant practice of the state and governance system. Consequently, there are now over 266 armed groups supported by the government, all mobilized around the idea to see the Banyamulenge leaving the DRC. These conflicts are not complex to solve. It is simply a black-on-black racism, a politics of identity, contestation of citizenship rights of the Banyamulenge community. It is internally induced crisis. So it's a governance issue and failure to regulate social relations between ethnic groups. So the problems of these issues, we have the physical features now. The physical features became the determining factor of whether someone is Congolese citizen. This has led to an exclusion of Banyamulenge as full citizens. So the rhetoric of political actors and armed groups in the DRC continue to promote racial divisions. Consequently, many militia groups referred as Mai Mai consider Banyamulenge as non-indigenous or invaders with no rights to sources of livelihood and access to land claimed to belong to indigenous people. There is a paramount example that were made by some of the officials. For instance, in 1996, senior government authorities in Zaire, what was then Zaire, announced that Banyamulenge had 6 days to leave the country and must return where they come from. And the Zairean government at the time efforts to implement this played a big role in 1996 Congo War that you now know was to take out the Mobutu regime. 1998, Laurent Kabila, the person who had just taken over from Mobutu's regime, mobilized the population to exterminate all Banyamulenge. He referred to them invaders where they were in Congo, everywhere they were in Congo. And this campaign was supported by his Foreign Affairs Minister, Abdoulaye Rodian Ndombasi, who declared on the television that Banyamulenge were scum, vermin, and foreigners, and must be methodically eradicated with determination. Ndombasi's calls were effective. Thousands of Banyamulenge were systematically killed in thousands across the country. So currently in the Eastern Congo, there are many cases of selective killings and many hate speech directed towards them. This is, I just to spare you with some of the horrific videos. This is, for instance, in 2021 or 22. It's a Mnyamulenge major who was killed and was burnt and was eaten. So I'll show you the image here. On on one side, on the left side, is being like burned down, and on the other side is flesh being eaten there. So there are videos. We have incidents where like 3 of our neighbors were all been, the cannibalism happening. So I have a table here in my presentation that shows the damages happened since 2017 to 2022. So we have 1,500 persons killed, villages and churches destroyed around 408, schools destroyed 131, persons kidnapped 2,145, healthcare centers destroyed 35, heads of cattle 452,000, and persons arbitrarily arrested. 6,057 people are arrested. So what we feel as Banyamulenge is that the United Nations have failed. International efforts have failed. The national government authorities are primarily social actors in the ethnic violence. So this one, it says like foreign powers, we know they're afraid to confront the BSC authorities about the black on black policy and popularism and ethno-nationalism politics. So poor governance and the abuse of power by the state authorities play a significant role in the ongoing political instability in DRC. So in my presentation, I put in some few proposed solutions that we feel can be put in place. For instance, like to teach to put in systems that will sanction the racial division, to implement civic education and to promote cohesion, and the non-discriminatory policies should be put in place. So we urge the UN and international community to stop these issues and confront the DRC authorities on the persecution of this group. So we believe that you can help too by confronting the legacy of colonialism through history, decolonization, and knowledge and lobbying for the minorities' rights. Because we believe there is another form of apartheid in the DRC. We believe the Banyamulenge fate is comparable to Palestinians. We want to have an end to impunity. So we urge the South African Youth Council to launch awareness and advocacy campaigns highlighting the Banyamulenge's struggle. Your active involvement can help bring global attention to our plight and drive meaningful action towards our protection and empowerment. Thank you.